Hey guys, it's been a while from AFS in the US. Haven't really done one of these, but just got the new Blackbird in, so we're gonna unbox it and go over it. Okay, we got it out of the Flex X. Quick note on the Flex X: keep that stuff if you like to travel with your board, or you think you might travel with your board. It's reusable and is great to put on the back on top of the board as you put it in the bag. But here's the big reveal. I wasn't even sure what color this one is, but this is, looks like we got super lucky and we got the new electric blue. Wow, this thing looks pretty cool. What a great color. So the size we've got here is the 8.6 by 16.5. Also comes in an 8.6 by 18. Get it all dialed in. The reason I am super excited about this new shape and talking with the team is a new construction type. So these are actually molded. So what that means is a more consistent construction, and all of the new advanced boards are molded. And in that mold, that allows us to dial in the amount of resin used and dial in the weight, dial in a lot of different things, and achieve a lighter, more consistent board. In addition to just being molded, and there's a lot of, we'll say, proprietary things in that molding process that we won't go into detail and can't, frankly. But the highlights are there's a new outer resin that's used that's more impact resistant, more scratch resistant, and we're still putting another finish on top of that. So in general, if you have had an advanced board before, these are going to be even a little better. And then in the Blackbird skinny, for the downwind ones, there's structural supports placed throughout the mold to increase the rigidity. We still have boxes that are reinforced with triaxial carbon. There's still key areas that are reinforced with triaxial carbon, and the board is still a full carbon shell. And so, for us, these, regardless of new shape, these are the stiffest, lightest boards we have had, and we're super excited to share that with y'all. In terms of the shape, obviously I haven't had a chance to get this thing in the water yet, so this is all coming from the team and the folks that have been using it. But compared to the last Blackbird, you're going to get a little bit better release off the water. And they did that by thinning, it's not being as deep in the double concave here. Now, to keep some of the tracking that was really good about the previous Blackbird, you kept a sharp rail here and an additional sharp rail here. What that will help as well is release off the water. The guys tell me that for flat water, this board's a little better. We, kept similar rocker, maybe smoothed it out a little bit in the back compared to the previous one that was a little sharper. But again, a lot of, sharp angles here on the back. We'll kind of turn it for you so you can see it a little better. But a really high performance bottom shape there to paddle straight, quickly, efficiently, and get you on foil and off the water. On the deck here, it's a little flatter through the middle here. I think some folks felt like there was too much water pooling with the recessed deck, but we do still feel like the recessed deck, and we get the feedback that the recessed deck is really nice in terms of moving your feet around and understanding where you're at. So we kept good amount of angle here. The other advantage of the recessed deck, obviously, is how much closer you are to the foil on your back foot. The pad is all new. If you haven't seen the new pads for summer 26, I think it feels a little slick on your first two sessions. Not I think. Yes, that was my experience with it. After a few sessions, though, it really picks up in abrasion a little bit. And then the other thing that you won't notice in the store or just rubbing your hands on it is the level of softness. So it's really soft. So what happens is when your feet are planted, you go right through that softness and onto the deck of the board, and your feet feel, then the pad feels really sticky and your contact with the board feels fantastic because it's not being absorbed by much. It really just, your feet sink into the pad and hit the carbon, and it's just a nice, reactive, responsive, good feeling. I've got a couple little pads on top. You know, I'd probably, if you're often rigging on the concrete, I'd probably still add one up there to help protect it. You know, your leash plug, auto valve, you know, kind of all your standard things. That's, you know, no reason to drone on. So I'll flip some other angles. Man, the weight of this thing is pretty phenomenal. So we'll post all of the sizes and weight stats in there. I guess on the weight, the team tells me with this new construction, we're generally about 20% lighter than we were on the previous models for similar size. So that's pretty exciting. Looking forward to getting this on the water. See y'all out there.